Just a little bit, hold me just a little bit more. High on fire, burning for each other. Hold me just a little bit, hold me just a little bit more. When you're holding me close, feel the beat of your heart, and I'm needing your touch to feel alive. I need it. When you're holding me close, feel the beat of your heart, and I'm needing your love to feel alive. I need it. High on fire, burning for each other. Hold me just a little bit, hold me just a little bit more. High on fire, burning for each other. Hold me just a little bit, hold me just a little bit more. Feel the beat of your heart, and I'm needing your touch, and I'm needing your love. Let me down when you're holding me close. Feel the beat of your heart, and I'm needing your touch. Feel alive, I need it. When you're holding me close, feel the beat of your heart, and I'm needing your love. Feel alive, I need it. Tonight the weekend, I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait. Swimming in the deep blue, got me thinking about you. I'm just trying to dive right in. Wanna spend tonight like the last night of our lives, chasing all the love we can. And now, oh, I'm in a sea of lights, and all that I can see is you. And now I'm dying to feel alive. So baby, let's try something new. Let's make tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait. Tonight's the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait. I've been chasing so long, every right that feels wrong. Rather be with you instead. There's something about it right here, got me seeing so clear. Rainbow colored skies ahead. Now, oh, I'm in a sea of lights, and all that I can see is you. And now I'm dying to feel alive. So baby, let's try something new. Let's make tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait. Tonight's the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait. Let's make tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason not to celebrate. Baby, I just don't wanna wait.
Set me free, why don't you, babe? Get out my life, why don't you, babe? Yes, you don't really need me, but you keep me hanging up. Set me free, why don't you, babe? Get out my life, why don't you,
This is Joe's first business meeting with us, so everybody act normal. I'm just kidding. Don't bring your biggest problems yet. Just kidding.
Yeah.
We're excited to have Joe here. I'm sure most of you guys have read the emails and things like that, but he has been a managing broker at both Remax and most recently in Habit in Oregon and Washington. So he has a wealth of experience in the business for 20 years, knows all the things.
Thank you.
And he served on the OREF forms board with Kelly. So him and Kelly knew each other well. But we're excited to have someone knowledgeable as we kind of navigate into this new adventure that we're all going to go through with the industry changes. And Joe's going to share a little bit today about some things that we're going to need to implement pretty quickly. So Joe, we're excited you're here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Good morning, everybody.
You have 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Well, I'm going to take 10 to explain the pronunciation of my last name.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
So we'll save that for another day. or so.
Okay. Let's run through what we have going on this week. So right after this today, we have our buyer consultation role play workshop with Laura. You're going to do your buyer's presentation. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be Nick's, I was getting ready to be a really difficult buyer, but Nick can do it. Okay. I love it. But this is a great opportunity to hear what some of our top agents say in their buyer consultations. Last week we did listings, and we're going to keep this going. Our ALC committees, Laura James, Pam Waldman, and Jenny Hill have all agreed to kind of create these workshops because people have asked for them. So next month there'll be 2 more, 1 listings, 1 buyers, again, just to hear what people are saying with just not overall their listing presentations and buyer presentations, and then specifically how they're adapting it to the questions that are arising, change it. So stay in this room after that today for that. And then we just want to do a little shout out. So Realtor Day for the Street of Dreams is August 6th, which is next week on Tuesday. And Realtor Day goes from 11 to 7. It's a little bit different this year because there's not an actual street. It's kind of like your dreams can be everywhere. But you do have to get a ticket. There's no cost to it for Realtor Day, but you do have to like go online and purchase the ticket for $0. But it's the only day that realtors can go for free. So it's a great opportunity to do that. But we have 3 properties featured in there. So number 7 is Veronica's. Listed by Veronica. It's built by Exceptional Homes by Andre. That's the one on Goodall. A lot of you guys went and toured that a few weeks ago.
And it's sold.
And it's sold, yeah. So that's great for Veronica. And then Daryl Bodel has number 16 and 17. So number 16 is 3 separate units, and number 17 is a duplex. And those are kind of showing more of like the middle housing infill projects. So it's pretty cool that we have so much visibility this year as firearms from there. So hopefully we can all go out and support them. They're all going to be working their houses a lot over the next
Go see Kelly.
few weeks. Yeah, so go see Kelly. She's gonna be working a house. But yeah, register for Realtor Day. We're still trying to figure out, if we might do some sort of like transportation or shuttle around this year, but for sure, it's a great opportunity to go check out some of the houses. And there's a lot of houses this year. So there's like 7 or 8 traditional luxury homes. Then there's some remodels. Then there's the middle housing, and there's like a luxury condo in there. There's all kinds of options. So they're really like saying the Street of Dreams is going on tour this year. So they're offering a lot more houses, not on the street. Okay, what else is happening? This is next week. And also another fun thing is Robbie is going to be here in person next week. She's coming in town for the picnic. So she'll be working here all week. So for those of you who haven't gotten a lot of time with Robbie in person, we are excited to just have her be around the office. But on Wednesday, we're going to have a CE class hosted by Environmental Works with food. And this is going to be kind of an overview of mostly the regulatory changes that are affecting tank, sewer, and radon. I think most specifically tanks. But this is important information to know. About things that we need to disclose, and they did a similar class a while ago, but some of the changes hadn't gotten into effect. So, this should be a great class. And register if we have a count for food, but this is next week, Wednesday, 11 o'clock in this room. And what else do we have going on? Our picnic is next week. Hard to believe. We have face painter booked, balloon animal guy booked. We have yard games. We have a palm reader and a tarot card reader for the adults. We have wine, we have food, sunshine guaranteed. It should be fun for the whole family. So please come. You bring your kids are welcome. It's a great environment. And yeah, if you can RSVP just so we kind of have a count for food and drink. But even if you don't RSVP and something clears on your calendar, feel free to come. 5 to 9 over at Tumwater, and it's just like 15 minutes from here. So easy. And then Cole has made the August newsletter in command. Cole, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so every month I go through and I try to have it out by the last week of the previous month. Basically, I just highlight 3 events going on in that month, give a short market report, and then just highlight a neighborhood in Portland. It's there pretty much ready to go, so if you don't want to make any changes, you can just add your people to it and send it, but you can also go in and just edit it, so if you don't like maybe the neighborhood I spotlighted, you can just take that out or change that, so it's completely yours, but we just wanted to give you something that was very easy to just plug in, plug and play, and just get some touches out to your people.
Yes, and be localized. So you go into Smart Plans and you just search hashtag KWPP.
And it'll, if you're worried about it taking a while, it's 5 clicks maybe, and you're good to go, so.
And if you want one-on-one help with Cole to walk you through that, he can do that because it's really easy to set up and it's such an easy touch to your database that's basically already made, you know? Yeah. Cool, thanks.
And that
Cole.
can be 5 touches to your database between now and the end of the year when rates are going down starting next month.
Ooh, speaking of rates going down next month, Brian, that's your segue.
Rates have already started going down, if anyone's been paying attention. I mean, no one pays attention to rates, right? Who cares, right? Does anyone care? Yeah, no, rates are doing great, so hooray. We do have kind of an important meeting tomorrow with the Fed. Okay, they're gonna have more information about all of this. But again, the data's been coming back good. We had some pretty good data on Friday. I mean, yeah, we kind of want a little bit of economic weakness so that the Fed can step in and save the day. Okay, does that kind of make sense? Like we can't have everything perfect in the economy and have the Fed have a clear path to cut rates. All right, so we are starting to see a little bit of that. The inflation is still coming down. I mean, as of it kind of crept up a little bit last week, but as of Monday, we're at 6-month lows again on rates. So I mean, it's like 6.8 as kind of the average. So again, it seems like we're kind of past the worst. I mean, no crystal ball, obviously, but and there's going to be a little bit of chop or some volatility along the way. But it does seem like again, it's kind of like a foregone conclusion unless there's something really weird out of the woods that we're probably going to get 2, maybe 3 rate cuts, by year end. Okay, and I mean, they kind of mentioned last week that they could just cut any time, but I don't think the Fed's going to do that. And again, we'll have a little bit more guidance tomorrow when the Fed meets. And then on Friday, we have that jobs report number. Again, we kind of want to see more unemployment. That is part 2 of the Fed mandate. They want to keep inflation in check, but then they also want to kind of foster a good job market. So that's one of the, the indicators that we're going to be definitely looking at on Friday as well. And then I'd also like to just add, lenders right now they're still for a well-qualified buyer. They're really trying to pave the way. Appraisal waivers, we don't even need to get an appraisal on certain properties if somebody's putting enough money down. So these things can close super fast. I'm going to get like a same-day approval from certain lenders. And if anyone wants to take a trip to Michigan, they do have an open invitation to any realtor that would like to accompany me to one of the largest wholesale lenders to just see how operations work, see how fast they are, see how we can kind of help grow the business. So I guess hit me up if anyone wants to take a trip to Michigan.
Great.
And then I have put together a new flyer. If anyone has like an open house or one of their buyers wants to check out a house, I can co-brand you on there and maybe have like, okay, here's 3% down, here's 5% down, here's 10% down, or here's like, 6, 7, 8% or whatever. I can kind of get like a little flyer with that property with some payment information, of course, your information as well. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Okay, cool.
Thanks,
All
Brian.
right, you bet.
Thanks, Brent.
You know where to find Brian if you have any questions on lending. All right, and I'm gonna turn it over to Joe. You guys all should have received an email from him early Monday morning. And he has the same email that Kelly was using, the broker at KW Portland Premier. So if
Yep.
for some reason you missed it, make sure you kind of resave that. And you should automatically change, but I'm just gonna go over some important things we need to know.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everybody. So our two favorite words coming up between now and the end of the year are compensation and representation. And so let's get those shuns under wraps, under control, so we know where we're moving forward. The intent of the email on Monday was to inform you that RMLS now, as you know, will no longer be publishing any type of BAC in any listing effective August 17th due to the settlement with NAR and DOJ. They are going to start that early, about on the 13th. They're going to start pulling those commissions off. So that will affect some of the third-party vendors, IDX, VOW type data that is supplied by RMLS. The addendum I sent out, which is a listing contract addendum 1250, basically states that if you have an active listing today, up until the 13th, you need to have this form filled out with your sellers saying that this change is coming. And we want to make you aware of, because of the settlement decisions and RMLS's policy and following that settlement decision, that commission now will be removed effective the 13th of August. This form also reiterates and reconfirms the listing agreement amount, your listing fee in there too. It restates that as well. So you and your seller will know, hey, I signed 2.5, we're live in RMLS now, or 3, whatever. And again, I use these numbers in an educational purpose. These are not your fees or your percentages that I recommend. That's between you and your client. But I will use these only for going through this document. So if you have a listing fee of 3%, okay, that will just be reinforced in this new addendum saying 3%. The key line here, the caveat here is it states that, and you'll see this a lot now, that the fees are not set by law. All fees are negotiable. You'll see that in every new document that comes out in regards to listing contracts and representation, buyer representation. The new listing contract, which I have in my hand, which I will send out a copy of, it was not in effect yet, but this is the new listing contract. And section 5, where it has the compensation, will no longer have any reference to buyer compensation, buyer or buyer agent's compensation. This is strictly going to be a document with the relationship that you're creating and negotiating between you and your seller, period. That's it. On the other side, of course, the buyer is going to be negotiating with their buyer's agent, period. Those will be two separate entities now negotiating to find out where they can come in a contract. So that is a big change. The thought process is just, we're going to have to treat this like we did when we did with the buyer. You negotiated a fee you were working for, you relied on a seller to give that compensation. Nope, we separate that, and buyer only, buyer agent, seller only, seller agent. Negotiations will take place when you submit a contract, when you submit an offer. That's when you determine how you're going to get paid. Okay. And again, we will probably evolve into some training later this month in buyer representation. There are 5 new forms to be aware of that are coming from RMLS ORF in regards to your relationship with your buyer. And that has exclusive agency representation, non-exclusive. There's some addendums, and of course, the actual document that states how much you're willing to work for or what you agree upon. So lots of things coming down. I get these as quickly as you do, even though I'm on the board of managers for ORF. I usually get these about an hour before they're unleashed to the general public. So I'm learning at the same pace you are. I'm educating myself at the same pace you are. There are some resources online, and I'll send out some links later today after this meeting with a copy of the new listing agreement, which again goes in effect on the 17th. And I'll send some links if you want to get ahead of the curve a little bit, ahead of some of our training. There are some nice little vignettes, some PowerPoint presentations, and some actual YouTube videos of some of the intricacies of some of these forms. Nothing too scary. It's just a new way of doing business that we've always done before. We just never knew it. So yeah, Nick, go ahead.
Going on listing appointments for people that are like leaving now, but they're preparing to list end of August. When can we start using those new listing contracts?
Well, that's I think you could probably use them before the 17th. Yeah, they're not.
Well,
They're not, yeah, they're not available yet in all your document platforms that you retrieve your documents from. They will be shortly. I'll let you know when those are available. I will send a hard copy today, though, that you can use, but I think that's always good advice to be ahead of the curve. I would also is anybody using buyer representation agreements now in this room? Show of hands. Okay, good. Appreciate that. I know that has to go in effect on January 1, that will be mandatory. But I'm going to recommend to the leadership here that maybe we implement that earlier in-house at the office so we can get used to that practice. And so when January 1 comes, we're moving full, ahead, full steam with no issues, no bumps in the road. Where when you represent a buyer, you're going to have an agreement in place to represent them, a buyer representation agreement. Right now, you don't have to have that. No, August is listing side.
So is that at the RMLS?
But we have,
Yeah, so that means you have to have that in agreement before you show your first house.
Starting January 1st.
January 1, it's by law. Now, you don't have to do that now. State of Washington implemented that January 1 of this year. So
The last 6 months, we've been August 17th. Has that changed now?
because we've been, and I'll tell you kind of what the back, Kelly had told us, because if you don't have that in place, then you can't negotiate on behalf of your clients with the buyer's commission if you don't have a buyer broker agreement signed.
well, it's not enforced right now. The buyer agency agreement is not in force. Some brokerages have mandated it, some don't, some are slowly evolving to that. But it's key that you have that now. The 17th is basically just the listing where compensation is taken out of RMLS and the listing agreement has no reference to compensation to the buy side. That's the 17th.
But
And practically speaking,
you want to
when
use,
that change happens, if you don't have a buyer broker agreement,
you're not getting.
you're gonna be
paid.
floating around in nowheresville.
Right,
What
so,
he's saying is legally, that's practically, you better be doing it if you want to be paid, but legally, they're gonna actually start enforcing it in January.
if you like to get paid for your work, you should do
No,
it.
probably if you want to view homes, they're gonna ask you, that's what I understood. RMLS or, is gonna ask, central office is gonna ask you, do you have a buyer broker agreement in place? And you have to say yes or no. And if, obviously you have to say yes, if you wanna go view properties. So maybe that's what's being enforced January 1st.
All showings, all agency, when you get into an agency agreement with a buyer, you have to have a document that states, I'm representing this buyer. This buyer has to sign that, then you can show homes. Now, there are going to be different types of agreements. There's going to be an exclusive one where you may be the only agent representing that buyer. And there can be a non-exclusive one where that buyer may have an agent for different parts of town, different communities. I'm going to use somebody to look at for show homes in Vancouver. I'm using an agreement for them. And I'm going to use an non-exclusive for an agent here in Portland, showing me homes in Portland. So you can do that. That's the non-exclusive, where you could have multiple brokers working on behalf of a buyer. Or the exclusive, and hopefully everybody's going to be operating in good faith, is that it's exclusive, that agent is working for me only, whatever I want to see. No other agent is involved. Now, RMLS is not going to ask for these representation agreements unless there's a violation or a formal complaint. They will have the right to say, hey, do you have an agreement, a representation agreement in place? Now, again, this is all brand new territory enforcement. I know they've set the fines. I don't know how they're going to enforce it, but they do have the right to say, do you have an agreement in place with this buyer? Whatever that issue may be that may be brought up to them where they need to verify that relationship. So this is all new, but it will get through this. We always have. I think after we get done with this into the early part of next year, we'll all be fine with this. We'll laugh about it, say, well, that wasn't too difficult. But change is always challenging, but once we get through it, it'll be fine.
And we'll outline, we'll make sure to keep outlining the specific action items for things that you have to do. So if you have a listing right now that is pending, you don't have to get the addendum.
That is correct. If it's pending, you don't need to change any paperwork. If it's active, you need to get this amendment to change the fact that, to notify your seller, the commission is not going to be published anymore. Now, this doesn't forbid you, and again, we're getting in the weeds a little bit. I don't want to get too deep into all the intricacies and the role play that might come in with negotiations on submitting an offer and how you're going to get compensated. But you can, RMLS will not have your fee published, but if you have an independent website exclusively to a listing, if you have 123mainstreet.com, that's just your standalone website for a listing you have, you can put a BAC in there. You can put a BAC on a flyer, a non-branded flyer, excuse me, a branded flyer. It's not an RMLS. You could post a fee BAC available on a signpost if you wanted to. So everywhere you can do that professionally outside of RMLS.
Websites, so we, our virtual tours, our websites in the RML. The link can be found in the lower what have you. So if we put that link into the RMLS.
That's a gray area right now. That question has come up. They don't know how they're going to handle that. And there's, but that is a good question. So a lot of these things may evolve a little bit, but you can't, other things they're taking away is you're not gonna be able to, when you go into your data searches, you're not gonna be able to look for compensation, even historical compensation in your data search in RMLS. So you can't steer potential buyers into specific listings that make that, or, have that information that might prove very financially beneficial to you, and not taking care of what the buyer's needs are. So they're eliminating a lot of search mechanisms where you can kind of filter out elements that may give you an idea of what the compensation could or may be.
And when you put into the H remarks, with public remarks, that the seller is willing to pay up to X dollar amount or X percent towards buyer's closing costs.
I'm sorry, what was the first part of the statement?
The H remark with public remarks.
No, you can't do any type of carrot.
And, we've offered closing costs. You need to shut it, we'll give you the closing costs.
Your baseline statement is going to be call LA for more information. And then you can negotiate. You can ask, is the seller offering compensation?
For closing costs, we've always been able to put closing.
Oh, yeah,
costs.
you can still do closing costs. Yes, you can. It's,
Can you call it concessions?
you can call it concessions.
But they're gonna be looking for anything that alludes to compensation.
Yeah.
So if it's,
I like the word concessions, basically.
I don't think you should give it, I don't.
I think what they wrote is that they see some consistency and a certain.
Mhm.
Exactly, Nick. Yeah.
Concessions automatically add up to 2% every single time. They're gonna, if they identify that, they're gonna find it.
Yeah, NAR says the DOJ will monitor remarks fields. And again, I don't know, I would think there would be higher priorities than looking at RMLS remarks fields. But if they start to see trends or what they would determine as kind of coding, they will, and they see more and more agents maybe using that, or that's popping up more in some of these search fields, they're gonna flag you, and they're gonna ask you, you can't use that certain verbiage, or that we see multiple agents using the same verbiage. And so it doesn't, because this is all about transparency. This is all about how people are getting paid and who are paying them. That's the bottom line. So this is still a lot of stuff in the air that's looking to settle. I'll keep you up to date and try to guide through the minutia and give you just the data that you need to continue to operate, continue to list and help buyers, find homes and sellers sell homes. And we will navigate through this, and we'll come out better for it. The industry will. But right now, we're kind of just right at the precipice of a lot of change, and like I said, change is good and it'll be fine.
And we've been trying to stay ahead of a lot of it. There is still a lot of gray area. We've just been trying to stay ahead of it to help give you guys more and more confidence, so it's not a concerning thing. So that's why maybe all the answers aren't quite as clear as we would like them to be.
Yeah, and don't be afraid of the fact that I said there's going to be, 5 new forms to learn. These are fairly simple forms. It's just, it's the theory of the form. It's the intent of the form. Yes, they all have verbiage. This is to protect you. It's to protect your client.
And the buyer presentation one is out now, right? Kelly went through that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
so-
then some of those may change in the next month, but we're hoping they're not. But we will continue to keep you up to date. And then at the end of this month, end of August, we'll do some training in-house on some of those representation forms and how to use those. And then we can even get into talking about how you negotiate, based on those forms. How do you approach the seller in the contract? What if the seller says, no, there's no compensation? Do I still write a demand for compensation? Well, yeah, I would hope so. But again, these are a lot of different scenarios that we're gonna have to practice, but we will get through them. So,
Awesome.
yeah,
Thanks,
thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Cool. Okay. You guys are out. Our agent panel's in.
Okay, sounds good.
Terry and Donna. Thank you for being here. Yay. Terry, thank you for being here, even though she had a power outage this morning.
Oh, were you on that side of town? I was on the right side of town.
Ah, so you had the power.
Across the
You were on
street-
the good side.
Across the street did not have power, so.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for being here. So we invited Terry and Donna to come up today because we just wanted to talk about what some of our top agents are doing for summer, for lead gen and just like summer activities that's helping you get business right now. And so let's start with Donna. You just had your big event with Hair Fest. Tell me about that.
It's fun. We have so much fun.
Wait, no, I'm sorry, actually, tell everyone, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Donna Ellison. Ellison Team Homes, Liz is here. Hannah's not able to be here today. I think I've talked to a lot of you in this room and I don't change up a lot of what I do. I stick with the stuff that works and we change out in exchange for things that do or don't work. But Hair Fest is actually one of our biggest client events. So I sponsor a VIP tent and which is nice because it was 100 degrees and really sweaty and gross. And we're out there for days. We load in on Wednesday. We're there Thursday night. We're there all day Friday. We're there all day Sunday. And then we break down on Sunday. And if you don't know about Hair Fest, you're probably younger than me. But it's and they're not cover bands. They're actually tribute bands. So these people, like the Ozzy Osbourne is literally better than Ozzy Osbourne. And I saw him in concert 3 times as a kid.
Wait, I'm sorry, what's the difference between a tribute band and a cover band?
A tribute band lives their life.
Okay.
They are Beastie Boys are Beastie Boys. Like they show up. Were you there? Did you see any?
I was at my daughter's wedding, so I missed it.
Well, that's very important reason to miss it, but they're tribute bands and it's known all over the world. There are people that come in from all over the world to this event and they added 7 bands this year. We went the first year before we lived in Canby and I just thought it was such a great event and I saw how much fun it's a really fun festival. It's pretty peaceful. There's never really any issues. I realized when I look around, we're all just getting older, but it's fine. These were our bands when we were kids and we love them. And a lot of our younger generation loves them too, because it's some of the best, y'all know it's some of the best music out there. So you get to watch these bands and there's, all the stuff you would expect, food and beverages and all the things. So we host a tent. With that tent, I have 30 passes and they're 3-day passes. So I invite my clients that I know love it and they come and they hang out. And then we have probably another 20 people that I didn't invite specifically, but they show up. So of course we invite them in and we host them and we have food and beverage. And it's a nice place for people to touch down. They go back out, they can be at the stage, they can go rock, do whatever they want, leave, come back and just kind of hang out and talk. So it's one of the events that we do. And it's getting more expensive every year. And even this year when I got the invoice, I thought, oh, this hurts me. But when I realized how valuable it is to my clients, how much we get to know our clients in those events, when you see somebody playing air guitar for 3 hours straight, every word, like the barriers are down, that person, they know you, we're all sweating together, we're all rocking together. You can't be in a bad mood. It's just a really fun event. It's also a great local event because it's 7 blocks from my house. It's at the Canby Fairground or the Clackamas County Fairgrounds. So it's a really nice, easy event for us to do. It's exhausting by the time we get through. I always feel like I have to recover for a few days, but it's just a great opportunity to get to know our clients in a different way. I have one of my tech guys, actually a doctor. He's a very different person at Hair Fest than he ever was when I listed his house and sold his house. So it's great to see that side of him and the appreciation that we get from people is always huge. And so that's why I do it every year. I enjoy it myself. My team enjoys it, but it's just a really good opportunity to hang out with our people. Some of the people come 3 days straight. A couple of my clients were there every day. Some come for a couple hours on one day, and that's okay too, because we get to spend time with them. They get to have an elevated experience. They get fans, they get some relief from the intense sun, and we feed them and we drink them and we just have fun with them. So it's a good, for me, marketing dollars wise, it's a really good spend. And we get to have a great time with people.
That's so great. And that's so important to be looking at the money you're spending as an investment and is it worth it, right?
Mhm.
And so how many years have you done this now?
This is our 4th year. I was actually the OG. So I have the first tent. And I was the first person approached to have a tent when they started doing the VIP tents, which Hairfest is, this was our 11th year. So they started doing those tents 4 years ago. And I chose what I perceived to be the best tent. And I've been told until I die, it's my tent, because it is actually the best location. You cannot miss our tent. And we have Ellison team homes everywhere out there. So, and we have a lot of my realtor friends come in and say hi and hang out and spend time with us too, which is great because there's a ton of great realtors out there.
That's great. So it's in the community. Your clients have known to kind of expect it. And is this your biggest event of the year that you do for your clients, or one of your biggest?
Yeah, one of our biggest. Summer's crazy for us, but yeah.
Yes. Okay, we talk a little bit about what other kind of summer events. you
Well,
guys do.
we're now moving into rodeo.
Okay.
So that's in 2 weeks. Next week. 2 weeks.
Third weekend.
Yeah,
So
rodeo.
3 weeks.
So I want Terry to, but we do a lot of events and most of them are throughout the summer. My big events are all during the summer. And then we do smaller things with clients, more one-offish or small group during off season.
Okay, I love that. We'll come back to that. Terry, do you do events? in
We
this
do.
way? Let's talk about those.
I always do the Street of Dreams. So I offer
Oh,
tickets
yeah.
to my clients for Street of Dreams so that they can attend those. And if I don't get it out soon enough, they remind me that I've been busy, I've been gone.
So they come to expect it, which is
They
kind
do
of a cool
expect it.
thing.
Yeah. but
And
we-
what does that look like? Do you do it like give everyone tickets for like a certain day or a time, or just kind of give them?
Well,
a-
because now we have to order the tickets in advance for certain days.
Mhm.
I have to reach out to them and say, when do you want to go?
Mhm.
And then I order the tickets and send it to them. So.
Great. But so it's great because neither of you are having to plan this entire event, right? You're tapping into events that
Tapping
are kind
into
of
other
already
events, yeah.
happening. Okay, so Street of Dreams is a big one. And then how many people do you probably get tickets to?
I think probably 10 or 15 usually. ask
Okay.
for. So I mean, it's not a big amount, but it's enough.
But
know.
you offer it to more, right?
Yes,
And so
I
it's a
do.
touch to
Right,
even more.
it's a
people.
touch to them.
And
And
how
then
much are tickets?
I think last year they were 20 a piece. So I mean,
It's not very expensive.
yeah, it's a good.
And when you think of it as a touch, not just the people who say yes,
Yeah.
like, right, everyone you invite to Hairfest, everyone you invite to the Street of Dreams. Yeah.
And last year we always do pie giveaways. This last year we decided not to, and we did a photo shoot for our clients. So we went, I hired a photographer, I paid for her sitting fee, and for 2.5 hours, they came out and we set up times for them to get their pictures taken. And it was in November. It was a beautiful day in November, and they had family photos for the holidays. And that was here in Lake Oswego over at Millennial Park, and it was a lot of fun. So,
That's great.
so we're just trying to, change it up just a little bit, but we try to do something, at least 1 or 2 things.
Yeah. Now, and then you're really good at your consistent touches, right, to your clients. So
I
what
think
are
so.
some, yeah, you are. What are some of like your summer touches? Just kind of go through all the,
Well,
it doesn't have to be summer specific. but-
every month, the first of the month, everybody gets a birthday card. I mean, I know I make sure I get birthday card dates for everybody, and I'm consistently sending out a birthday card. If they have children and they've had, they were part of that, those kids, I get their birthdays and I send them like gift cards to Baskin Robbins or something. So they're part of that. They get home anniversary cards. Oh my gosh, can you believe it's been 8 years since you bought your home? So it's just that consistency. I do the neighborhood touch that's in our KW command. If you're not using it, I will tell you, when they go to open that up, you can tell and you can see what houses they're looking at. And so I utilize that. So it's like, oh my gosh, so-and-so is looking at a house again, and if I just, maybe they're looking because they want to see what their house is worth or what's selling around them, or maybe they're really looking. I know one of my clients, they're divorced, she's looking, he's living there, and she's looking because I know she's waiting for him to sell the house. So it's a call that I'm going to have to make at some point, or make sure, they're getting those touches. I mean, unfortunately, divorced, but
How much
I know
does that
that
cost?
free. I mean,
Okay, hype man.
I know, I love it. I love
but
it.
I,
Great.
Well, and Terry, you're one of the most intentional people I know with your touches, right? And it seems like second nature to you because you do it all the
All
time,
the
but
time.
you have, like how she's like, well, yeah, I've sent out all my birthday cards on the first of the month, like all these
Yeah.
things, like it's, okay, so keep going. What else?
So spring, they get a gift card from Home Depot. And it says, here's some spring ideas for spring cleaning. And every client gets one, and it could be $5. But that's gonna help buy a filter. That's gonna help buy some flowers to put in their front yard. I get thank you cards for that. I also, right now I'm working on my fall pop buys. I don't know, depending on who you are, you're either gonna get homemade limoncello, you're gonna get a air fragrance for fall, or you're gonna get homemade vanilla.
I want homemade limoncello.
I know, I was like, oh, wait.
So,
She
taking-
gave me an air fragrance once. It's great. And you don't have to make everything
No,
by
but-
home, like homemade, but.
But that's
seriously,
just my,
cool.
I mean, if I'm not busy, I gotta be busy. I can't, or my electricity's out, I'm halfway dressed and I'm like, okay, I'm cleaning out my pantry because I can't sit still. I just, I gotta do something.
Yes.
my
What are
personal-
some other, and so when you do like your pop buys, are you mailing them? Are you dropping them off? Like, what does that look like?
It's off and on. It just kind of depends on what my schedule is and what it is. Sometimes like one year I gave out oregano. My garden just bloomed 10 oregano. So I split it up and I was hand delivering
great.
oregano to all my clients because it's like here, because it grows and I needed it out of my garden.
That is
And
such a
it's
great
a great,
idea.
but you get to talk to them and you get to see them. So yeah, just, if I have to drive to Gales Creek, I'm not driving to Gales Creek just to drop off oregano. But if I can, no, it was still a plant. I just split my plant because mine got so big. I just split it. And anybody that was local, I put it in a little pot and, here's some oregano for you. And and little things
So
like
cute.
one of my clients, she just bought a house it's Southwest Portland and she's looking for barn doors, but she doesn't want the barn doors that do this. She wants the barn doors that, slide open. You know what I'm like?
Bifold?
Bifold, yeah. And so I happened to see one the other day and sent her a text and said, look, I just found this. She's like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for this. I couldn't remember where it came from. So it's just being intentional. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this. And just having those conversations or just, I'm thinking about you type of thing.
How do you remember all those little things? Do you keep it all in like a CRM or just in your brain? Okay. Yeah. Okay, Donna, tell us a little bit more about what else you do in your community, because you are you actually both are very community focused, right? Which is pretty cool because then you're seeing similar people, you're making a name for yourself. But yeah, tell us about some, like the rodeo you kind of brought up.
So I will say that I do both things because I moved to Canby 6 years ago. You've all heard the story. We fell in love with Canby. It's such a great community. So I got super involved with Canby. So I'm always looking at things from the perspective of, to a degree, multitasking. So if I can do something that benefits because I work all over the place, always by referral, which means I'm in Portland or Tigard or Beaverton or Forest Grove or you name it, wherever my clients are, and having been in this industry for a long time in Portland Metro, that actually works for me. So I do some things that are kind of bigger scale, broader for our clients that are everywhere, or sometimes I pull those people in for smaller support, whether it's just taking them out to dinner or hanging out with them. A lot of it's just attending their events. They invite me to things, so I show up. I always be sure that I can show up. And sometimes you can't, but I try really hard. I feel like if they're including me in their personal life, that's something I'm going to show up for. And most of the time, I absolutely adore these people. So it's really easy to go hang out with great people. But as far as big events, I try to multitask because it's expensive what we do. And I have a budget that I set every year for our marketing dollars, for our branding, for our events, and I really try to stick to that budget. So if I can maximize those things, like Hairfest is perfect because there are some local folks that come and there are some people that come from Southwest Portland and Beaverton. So it's a great tool to bring in the people that care about that. The rodeo is the same thing. Some of my clients absolutely love the rodeo. It's their thing. They're into it. We've got great seats because I'm a vendor, so they get to sit right down in front. You can't beat the seats. They're in the middle. So we go as a team and a family one night, and then I put people in those seats all the other nights and sometimes it's my vendors too. That's one thing I want to point out. Part of being successful in our careers is taking care of our vendors. And I don't mean that in a kickback kind of a way or any bad way. I mean, just remind your vendors that you love them too, because we're only as good as those people showing up for us on a regular basis. So sometimes I use these events to bring in my vendors, to take them, to celebrate them, based on kind of what they like and what they like to do. we got involved. I'm super involved with the chamber and the city of Canby. So we do First Thursday, which is every first Thursday of the month. And we're out there as the street team. We're getting vests this next one. Can't wait to wear my vest. So we're just out there talking to people and directing them because some people come from out of town for First Thursday and they don't know where to go. They don't know where the restaurant is or the boutiques, or they're hungry for something and they don't know what their choice is. So we just kind of talk to people and guide them. And we also do a little shopping and eating and drinking too, if I'm honest, but we have a great time with everybody out there. And then the actual, we do Canby's Big Night Out. And so we started, I think this is our this would be our 4th year. And we started the dunk tank, and I do it as again, multitasking. And you probably all heard me talk about Fido. We donate every transaction we close, we donate, each of the team donates to Fido. We also volunteer in Canby. We go and pack the food. We've been doing this for 5 years now. And then we bring it to the Canby Adult Center. So we work with the Canby Adult Center, which touches our seniors. Fido touches vets, folks that don't have homes, seniors, anybody that's struggling to take care of their animals. So it's a passion for us as human beings. It's a passion for us as a team. We all have our dogs that we love so much, but it's cats. During the fires, it was cows and horses and all kinds of things. Nancy's been in to talk to this office before about Fido. It's a great organization. It's Oregon City, but it's very local, but it also goes out. They have, they go out to Washington County and Multnomah County as well. So multitasking, we do the, Big Night Out, and we have the dunk tank. And then I go around to some of our business owners, our police department, our fire department, and I put those challenges out because people like to dunk those guys, right? So I always have very kind of strategic list of who's going to get dunked, because we want, and the kids all do it for free. We don't charge the kids. It's a fun event for the kids, but we always try to get those adults to throw some money down and see if they can dunk the fire chief, because who doesn't want to dunk the fire chief? Or usually like year before last, the fire chief went before the police chief. The fire chief went and got 2 bags of ice and put it in the tank before when he was done, so that the police chief would. So it's fun. We always do a drawing. So we're trying to again earn more money for Fido. We're not making a dime. We have a drawing that people win. They get to come have fun. The kids have a blast. They love to get their coach in or whoever. We try to be very strategic, so it covers like a wide group of people that people will want to dunk. And then we rent the dunk tank, which are you gonna ask me? It's $400. No. So yeah. So, and actually I think I've got Canby Fire Department talked into building one for me for next year. So we might not even have that expense going forward. But then I usually spend about that much on the drawing, and it's our time and it's our effort. But again, we're just hanging out with people, having a great time. They're laughing. We're right at Backstop, which is a client and a business partner. So it's great to be with them. They always take really good care of us. And these are all really good, fun events. And we're there with them. The first year Liz did it with me. We went home and our feet were just like, you don't even realize how gross it is out there. So, we work our biscuits off. We sweat our biscuits off. We are right there with our clients doing these things. But what I have learned over time is it's kind of a layering effect. I'm not asking for business at any of these events. I'm not asking for anything at any of these events. I might be asking for a donation for Fido, but other than that, I'm not asking for anything. But over time, what has come back to us is the phone rings and they say, we see what you do for the community. We see what you do for this. We like the way you handled yourself in this committee or whatever it is. And so it's coming back to us. And it's never been because we picked up the phone and said, do you want to buy or sell real estate? So it's kind of a layering effect, and it takes time. I mean, it takes time to build that and to build the respect. But what I have learned is that for me, what comes naturally is peopling. I like people. I like to hang out with people till I don't have those days, but that's easy for me. That's natural. It's not fake. It's not awkward. It's just normal. And I don't really specifically go after them talking about real estate, but what they do, and you all know this, the minute somebody finds out you're a realtor, they want to pick your brain. They want to ask you questions. They want to tell you about the bad experience they had or the good experience they had. Or maybe they tell you that they're getting ready to buy or sell. So to me, it's just a natural part of being with people. If you spend time with them, they begin to look to you and ask you questions. And next thing you know, you're selling their most prized possession.
I love that. Really building the relationship.
Yeah. And it takes
I'm
time.
really good about that.
Yeah,
You have to admit, they just love their community.
that is cool. Now, Terri, you're involved with the Rotary. Let's talk about that.
I am. This year, as of July 1st, I'm the president of my Rotary Club in Canby.
That's awesome.
And It's a big commitment, but it's good. I've been in Rotary for 5 years. Absolutely love it. There's a passion there. Like, you know, and it may not just be like my business being out there, but I'm out there. I mean, we're at the daddy-daughter dance, you know, and it's on my socials right now, you know. Oh, look, I'm daddy-daughter dance, you know, so you get the Busy Burnett's social media, you know, here I am videotaping, or we do the backpack buddies. I mean, there's so much that the Canby Rotary does, and because I get to be president and advertise this, and I'm part of their social media, and it's great. I mean, so I get to feed off of that, what my community, you know, what we do for our community, but I'm also, they know that I'm a realtor too.
Which is great.
And they just, you know, because you care, they want to do business with you.
Right, you're just showing that you're authentically doing these things
Yeah.
as you.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I didn't join to get business. I mean, they don't want to give me business just because I joined. They have to know that I absolutely love my community in order to give me business. So,
And I think when people do join certain organizations or, you know, chambers or rotaries, just with that only intention in mind, you can
It
kind of
happens.
see through that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it does, you don't make the genuine connections, because you see a theme with both of them, right? They both care about their communities, care about their people genuinely, right? Get to know your clients. Okay, what else do you want to share about, like, doesn't have to be summer lead gen, but what else are you doing to help kind of get business, stay in touch with your community?
I think you just have to be consistent. I mean, consistency has been what has helped me
Mhm.
all along. It's just, you know, you never know where somebody's at in their life, but just keep being consistent, keep sending those cards, keep sending those cards. You know, this year I have a lot of people that are doing business with me because their spouses have passed away or their mother has passed away.
Is it not the year of that?
It is. I think I have 5
away.
transactions right now because somebody has passed away. Now, you don't know that all the time. Sometimes you find out in social media, you send them a card. Sometimes you don't. Maybe it's, you know, like you just don't know. So you just be consistent and keep sending those pop-bys, sending those, you know, whatever, the birthday cards. I mean, you know, some of them are from my kids when they were growing up in high school and grade school. I will tell you that one of my biggest people right now, my daughter was in dance in 7th grade, and they reached out to me because they saw my social media, her dance instructor, when she was in college. And now I sold that house, bought this house, mom's bought this house and selling a house. I mean, you just never know, but it's, you know, and I didn't know her husband had passed away. So it's just being consistent, sending thank yous, sending, you know, oh, happy home anniversaries. Because I think when I first got into the business, one of the things that I learned is that and I might be wrong with the statistics, but 98% of the buyers said they're going to use their agent again. Well, when they go to sell their house, they don't know who their agent was. They don't know where their agent is, and are they still in the business? And I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to make sure that you knew that I'm still in the business, so call me.
Yeah, they say only 12% actually do.
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
small percentage. And so I didn't want to be that person that, oh my gosh, they sold their house and they didn't call me. Well, why should they? They never heard from me.
Right.
So.
Do you guys
consistency.
have any questions for them? I can always keep going.
Could you explain the Williams neighborhood thing?
Yeah, it's so in your command, it's a drip that you can sign up for. And if I have an address for anybody, it's a sphere, a past client, whoever that is, you know, family, friend, I don't care if they've told me that they want to get something and I have their address, I sign them up to get this email once a month that says, here's what's happening in your neighborhood
Or where they want to go.
or where they want to
And
go.
it's all created automatically, right? You just have to sign them up for the neighborhood nurture, and it's based on the address that you put in there.
Put in there. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you can filter it out like Beaverton, Tiger, can you filter it out like that?
I believe
High
you.
schools.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
believe-
even way more specific. It pulls neighborhoods based off of next door, like the next door neighborhoods.
But
Sign yourself up for it.
Yeah,
Right?
I get it once a month because I wanted to make sure I could see it. And what was happening as as they're getting them, I can see when you go into your command, you can, up at the top, you'll see, oh, you got the so-and-so did something today. And you can see what they've done. And it's like, oh,
And it's already made, and it's all the info you'd want to know. Like I like seeing it about my neighborhood
Mhm.
for no reason. I'm not trying to move just because you want to see what's
you want to see.
available, what's sold, you know, what's going on in your neighborhood. So,
Right. Thank you.
And it works for out of state.
And you can see Cole will
Does
help
it?
walk you through how to.
Probably,
But the first thing you
Because
just
it's
find
any
yourself
address that
up
you put in
and you
there.
can see it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a client that said they'd like to buy something in Palm Desert, you can set up one for them where they want to be. And they get automatic emails of what's happening.
Yeah, that's a good email.
And even my buyers, I mean, I have them on prospecting, but if I also make sure that I get that and I send it to them again. Because I want to make sure that they know it's not just coming from my prospecting and I don't know what's happening. Oh, did you see? Here's some more houses. I just wanted to make sure you saw this. Just a simple, it takes a couple seconds to do it, but every morning go through all of that kind of stuff and
To make it a little more personal.
yeah, exactly.
So I have another question for you guys. Do you guys, work Monday through Friday? Like, do you do office? Are you like, okay, I'm gonna work from 8 to 5? Do you have a routine like that? No.
I try, but I was at a house last night at 9:30 getting garbage out because my seller didn't want to get it out. So I don't have a set schedule. It's
But you
just,
wake up and do your
I do.
weekend
I get up and I try to do as much of my office work as I possibly can first thing in the morning. So
Wait, Donna, what do you do for that? You just.
I honestly, I have usually so many appointments that kind of drives my day. If I have what I call a stay home day, the day that my dog's super happy because mama's not going somewhere, the bra did not get put on, we are staying home. I am sitting in my office with a cup of coffee and I am at my computer and I'm doing all of the things. That's my ideal morning. And I try that as much as possible, but sometimes I've got meetings at 8 or 9 or whatever. I mean, I don't get to people always talk about all the flexibility you have in real estate. That is correct. We do have flexibility. What we don't have is necessary. And there are realtors that very much control their schedules and I give mad props. I'm not in any way saying that's not good. It's just never worked for me. But the cool thing is I'm in a stage of life. My daughter's in real estate with me. I'm not raising anybody. My husband, after almost 30 years, has learned that dinner doesn't always happen because I'm usually on the phone or with a client at that time of day. So I have a really good scenario where I just work when I need to work. And if that's on Sunday afternoon or Saturday night, or usually when I'm trying to go to dinner with my husband on a Friday night, it's just what I do. And I know how blessed I am to be in that position because I got out of real estate for 8 years when Hannah was young because I couldn't be as good for my clients as they needed me to be, especially my investors. They don't care that you've got to put your baby down for sleep. And I'm looking at this little person going, I need to do this. So that's why I was out for 8 years because I could not personally do both things. And I love to work and I love real estate and I love to be busy. So I'm never bothered by the insanity that is sometimes my schedule. And I will say I had a coach, some of you know Justin, and he wasn't actually officially my coach, but we are good friends. And he, a couple years ago, said, "Why are you doing all your open houses? Why are you doing all this stuff?" And I said, "Because that's what I do." And he said, "No, you don't have to do all of it." So in the last few years, I've started having much better boundaries. I don't do most of my open houses. I will if I need to, because it's still important to me that they get done, but I've set more boundaries for myself. I do take time in the morning before I even start my day to do my exercise, my breathing, my watering my plants right now, like the things that are just going to keep me kind of grounded. So I have some control in that and it's the same every day, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants on a regular basis.
Nice.
When you're doing your events, and you say you're not there asking, but is it branded? Is there a logo somewhere?
Oh my gosh, yes, we have we have some really good, I think we've got some pretty good, I don't know if you've ever seen, I think we've got some pretty good.
I've seen it.
We've got a tent, we've got backdrops, because we do so many events, I've had to have all this stuff made. So everybody knows who we are and that we're there. And again, most of these are my existing clients, but here's a perfect example. Somebody who is local and can be, who I am involved with in a couple of different areas, brought a person to our tent. They were not invited into our tent. I mean, they weren't my clients that I'd invited in, but she came over, we start talking. I told security it was okay, let them come in. We were talking to them. The gal asked me for my card. She called me that Monday. And what I had gotten, the gist of what I had gotten from it is her mom had passed and she and her brother and sister wanted to get a CMA, basically. They just wanted to know what the value of the property was. And so we agreed to talk on Monday. She called me, gave me the address. It's in Boring. And I did the comps. She's like, "How much do you charge for that?" And I said, "I really don't." I said, here's how I do it. Here's why I do it. Any realtor can do this for you. Here are my thoughts. We talked 2 more times. And now I think I'm going out there next week. They're going to probably sell it. and she wants me to sell it for her. So that is a perfect example of, I wasn't out there talking about real estate, but because the person that brought her to me knows that that's what I do. She brought her to get words of encouragement and advice because she's just lost her mom, right? It's a difficult time. And that's actually what I focused on. I've lost my mom. It's one of the worst things in the whole wide world to lose your parents. So that's what I was more concerned about. And that's just a very genuine reaction. I thought to myself, I'm going to spend an hour on this and it's not going to come back to me. And that's fine. I'm going to help this lady out. She's just lost her mom. And then to my surprise, it looks like we're going to be listing the house. So that is often what happens for me in real estate is I just really always try to, and I'm not trying to be all goody two shoes, but I really just try to approach people on a human level and a real level. And what I have learned over time is that comes back to me over and over again.
I love that. That's good. Any final questions for these two? Thank you guys so much for being here and sharing. You're both amazing and do a lot of amazing things for your clients, and you genuinely care about them, which really, really shows. So, and the community. Good thing.
We
So,
do.
round of applause for Donna and Terri. Thanks, guys, and I hope you all see for the buyer consultation workshop.